Hey everyone, it's Lexie. So in today's video, I'll be sharing with you a 2021 holiday bookish gift guide. So I know a lot of places now are saying like to get your gifts early this year just with shipping and shortages and all those things, and so I always like to stay on top of everything and get it done as soon as possible. So I just like to keep it simple and get stuff early. So these, I always like to watch these also for myself to like see which books I would like, maybe like to ask for Christmas or like those things. And my birthday's in December too, so double whammy. So these are books that I think either you guys will enjoy to maybe ask for gifts, or they would be good gifts for a book lover. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. So if you have someone who really likes historical fiction, then I highly recommend Kristin. I feel like this author has become very popular within the last maybe 6 years or so. I feel like a lot of her like initial books were very much contemporary focused, but her newer ones definitely have like a historical aspect to them. So this follows a girl named Elsa who grows up in this small town, and she was never really loved by her parents or family. So when this guy like gives her some attention, she falls completely for him, and she ends up having a kid with him. So she goes and lives with him and his family on their farm. But when the Dust Bowl kind of goes through the town, wreaking havoc through the Great Depression, her husband ends up leaving her and her family, and she is left to kind of fend for her kids and then her in-laws as well. And this book was so heartbreaking. It came out earlier this year, and honestly I just felt so much anxiety just reading this thing. Like, it was just a lot to like emotionally get through, but it was a very special and moving read, which I really enjoy. So if you have someone who likes historical fiction, I think they would like this, because it takes place not only in the Great Depression, but it covers like a kind of significant part of history that we don't really kind of pay attention to with the Dust Bowl. Like, we aren't taught how detrimental it was to like our way of life for thousands upon thousands of people who had to go through this and had like these farms that were just dying because there was no water. And I think that is such an interesting such an interesting time period to read about and learn about. Like, I learned so much with this, and you end up rooting for these characters like so much, and my heart broke for them. And so yeah, if you have someone who likes historical fiction, I recommend either this book or any other like Kristin Hannah book is always usually good. So yeah, this one will really stick with you. Next up, if you have someone who likes kind of thrillers or political thrillers, then I recommend State of Terror by Louise and Hillary Clinton. I do not own this book. This is one that is definitely on my wish list because I am a huge Louise fan, so you can either get like this book or introduce them to the Inspector Gamache series by Louise. But this is one that has just come out, I want to say early October, so it is still relatively new, and I don't really know too much about this plot. Like, I always like, because I'm such a big Louise fan, like I just like to kind of go into it not really knowing too much, but all I know is it's a political thriller. The reviews are very good, if you just overwhelmingly really good, even though some of them are very much polarized given kind of the political background of one of the authors. But for the most part, this thing has really good reviews, and I think it would make a tremendous gift, especially because I feel like Louise is such a amazing storyteller. And so like it would be really good to see her kind of tackle this kind of political thriller, which is kind of outside of her kind of writing, what she usually writes. So yeah, I like this one. I think would make a really good gift if someone is like into politics or and they like thrillers and like mysteries. Then I think this is the perfect gift to give, or basically this is what I want for Christmas. So next up is a fantasy series that I would recommend, and it is the Crescent City series by Sarah J. Maas. The first book came out in like March 2020, and so the newest book is coming out February 2022. So if you get them this book, then they can pick up the next book immediately, and it won't take too long for them to get caught up in the series because it is still relatively new. But basically this is a little bit difficult to get into, but once you get past the 100-page mark, it kind of goes off from there. So it follows this girl named Bryce who is half human, half fae, and she lives in this kind of, you know, metropolitan area that follows, you know, has angels, like people of different kind of, you know, fantastical beings kind of all reside in this city. But when her best friend is murdered, she kind of, you know, this is like not a spoiler, it kind of happens within the first like few pages, but once her best friend has been murdered, she's kind of very much struggling with that. And so when she's approached by someone to help kind of with the investigation, and it kind of changes from there. So yeah, this one, like I said, the first 100 pages are like a little bit, because you're just getting used to this world and you're kind of just thrown into it, but it definitely picks up from there. And me and my friend read this like right when everything like shut down for COVID stuff, and we finished this like 800 plus page book, or almost 800 page book within like a week. We like flew through it so fast. So yeah, if you have someone who really likes like kind of fantasy and you want to introduce them to a newer series, then I recommend this one. So these next two are ones that I haven't read yet. They're recent purchases of mine, so I haven't gotten around to reading them, but nevertheless, I still think they would make kind of, you know, a good gift this holiday season, or a gift for yourself. And so the first one I have is Gilded by Marissa Meyer, and this is a Rumpelstiltskin retelling. And so again, I don't really want to know too much about this. I think all you really need to know is that it is a fairy tale retelling, and Marissa Meyer is very much known for her fairy tale retelling. She has the Lunar Chronicles, which are quite famous, and then she also has Heartless, which is kind of a prequel to the kind of villain story in Alice in Wonderland, and this is her newest release that has just come out this month as well. But what I think is really unique about Marissa Meyer is that she is able to stay true to the original story, but it expanded in a way that is new and refreshing. And what I think she really shines to is her characters, and her dialogue that she has with these characters, I think makes her really unique and stand out amongst a lot of the, you know, fairy tale retellings that we see a lot. And so again, I apologize, I'm saying like for these newer ones I don't really want to know too much about it, but yeah, I think like this one would be a lot of fun. If you have someone who likes retelling, you can either do like Heartless or the Lunar Chronicles as well, but this is the newest release so far, and yeah, I've heard really great things about this. She always does a really good job with these retellings, so you can't really go wrong. And lastly, for like a general fiction, I have Cloud Cuckoo Land by Anthony Doerr. This is his newest novel since All the Light We Cannot See came out, I want to say in like 2015. And again, this is one that I haven't read yet, but I feel like a lot of people will have this on their wish list. I feel like because All the Light We Cannot See won the Pulitzer Prize and it was very popular, I feel like a lot of people would know this author and be familiar with his work. So I will read what this kind of back says, which I think just makes it sound interesting, because I read it and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and then I didn't really retain what it was about, but I knew, I was like, okay, I know I'm gonna like this. But it says, set in Constantinople in the 15th century in a small town in present-day Idaho, and on an interstellar ship decades from now, Anthony Doerr's gorgeous third novel is a triumph of imagination and compassion, a soaring story about children on the cusp of adulthood in worlds of peril who find resilience, hope, and a book. In Cloud Cuckoo Land, Doerr has created a magnificent tapestry of times and places that reflect our vast interconnectedness with other species, with each other, with those who lived before us, and with those who will be here after we're gone. 13-year-old Anna, an orphan, lives inside the formidable walls of Constantinople, I don't know if I'm saying that right, in a house of women who make their living embroidering the robes for priests. Restless and curious, Anna learns to read, and in this ancient city, famous for its library, she finds a book, the story of Atheon, who longs to be turned into a bird so that he can fly to a utopian paradise in the sky. This she leads to her ailing sister as the walls of the only place she is known are bombarded by the great siege of Constantinople. Outside the walls of Omir, a village boy miles from home conscripted with his beloved oxen into the invading army. His path and Anna's will cross. 500 years later, in a library in Idaho, octogenarian Zeno, who learned Greek as a prisoner of war, rehearses 5 children in a play adaptation of Athion's story preserved against all odds through centuries. Tucked among the library shelves is a bomb planted by a troubled, idealistic teenager, Seymour. This is another siege, and in a not-so-distant future on an interstellar ship, Argos, Constance is alone in a vault copying on scraps of sacking the story of Athion told to her by her father. She has never set foot on our planet. Like Marie, Lerner, and Werner in All the Light We Cannot See, Anna, Omer, Seymour, Zeno, and if I can turn the page with my hand, and Constance are dreamers and outsiders who find resourcefulness and hope in the midst of gravest danger. Their lives are gloriously intertwined. So I think this one sounds super amazing. Again, it's a little bit different, and I like how it kind of has that like element of the interwovenness between these storylines throughout the centuries and even into the future. So yeah, I think this will make a interesting read, something that is very unique, but again, this author is very well loved, so this one's kind of, you know, a little bit of an oddball, but I think it will be a really great read and a very great gift as well. So that's it, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below what books are on your kind of holiday wish list and which ones you think would be good gifts as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.